I ranked all the MCU movies that I'd seen.
It probably goes Guardians 1, Blade,
X-Men
Morbius,
3 Last Stand.
X-Men 3.
Morpheus. Probably goes Morpheus. I'm just gonna put at number 5 that fucking Craven the Hunter movie with Aaron Taylor Johnson. I'm gonna put that at number 5 even though I haven't seen it yet. 1, 2, 3, 4.
These boys only want the best of. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners.
Yum, yum.
Oscar Wieners.
Are you ready? You ready to get Bostonian?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I got my Dunkin's coffee. I'm going yard on that one this episode.
Microprocessors?
Patriot Act. Patriot Act.
God, oh, the part when was it Alec Baldwin was like, God, I love the Patriot Act.
Yeah, he grabs the guy's shoulders.
Boy, nothing gets my grits going, boy, bigger than the fucking goddamn Patriot Act, I'll tell you what.
Welcome to Oscar Wieners.
Welcome.
The only show on the internet where Hollywood's biggest night is from Southie.
Hollywood's biggest night is from Southie today.
I'm your host, Red Sox.
And I'm your other host, Jimmy fucking Bags. How about that? How about
Really
them
good.
apples? You like them apples?
I got a number. How do you like them apples?
Did Good Will Hunting win Best Picture?
No, it was nominated though. They won Best Original Screenplay, Matt Damon and Affleck.
That's a movie. See, that's
Yeah,
a movie.
That movie's good.
I will say, this might be the hottest take I've dropped on this show.
Wow.
That's a movie.
No, I'm Michael.
Oh, I'm Ander.
And this is a show where every week we talk about a Best Picture winner, pick one at random, and try to figure out if it's Best Picture worthy. And this week we're talking about the 2007 Best Picture winner, Martin Scorsese's only Best Picture win.
Wow.
Did he win
No
Best
Wolf.
Director? I think
No
he probably
Wolf?
won Best Director too. And if he won Best Director, then it's also his only win. Just give me a second. Just like Vamp for talk. I don't know. Tell me about your favorite thing in. No, he won Best Director. Never mind.
I was
You know,
going to say
Vamp.
The Bean. I was going to say The Bean.
Is that in no? Isn't that Chicago?
Oh, fuck. That is Chicago. All right, never mind.
Jesus
Never been to
Christ.
Boston.
Really? I've been to Boston.
How'd you feel about it? Was it like The Departed?
Yeah, it was crazy. Mark Wahlberg was just like fucking harassing me in the streets.
Honestly, I feel like that probably is a real fact about Boston. Is that as soon as you enter within the city walls, one of the Wahlbergs is there just fucking ribbing you about shit.
It's like, you know, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's like the
Yeah.
six, when you're in Boston, it's the 6 degrees of Wahlberg, where like
It's-
somebody's been like fucking shit talked by a Wahlberg.
Except it's probably more like 2 degrees, I feel like. I feel like
Right.
everyone
It's like
knows
every
a
other
guy
person.
who knows Wahlberg,
Yeah.
at least.
You ever been to Wahlburgers?
Yeah, I have
How
once.
was it?
It was pretty good. It's like a lesser Shake Shack. Sorry to all
Okay.
my Bostonians out there. But it was fine. I couldn't get Donnie Wahlberg's fucking image out of my head the entire time. No, not Donnie. Who's the one who's like not good?
I don't know.
I don't want to say that. The
You mean not good
Wahlburgers
as in
guy.
like,
the third
not good?
guy? I shouldn't say
I
he's
don't
not
know.
good.
It's, what is it? Mark, Donnie, and
The other guy. I couldn't stop thinking about him the whole time as I bit into a fucking onion ring.
Scott Wahlberg, Paul Wahlberg.
Paul, probably. Scott? They got a Scott in their lineup?
Jim Wahlberg.
I don't know. One of the third guy, the third brother. I think he's
Gotcha.
the youngest.
We're talking about 2007 Best Picture winner, Departed.
Nice. I think you're probably the first person to make that joke of all time.
Yeah.
Defied.
Over text you called Leo DiCaprio Leo DiFaprio, which is
And
really good.
yeah, I think he kind of deserves that. He's all the way up here on his pedestal, and I got to bring him down here to our level. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Directed by Marty Scorsese, starring fucking
all
Leonardo
the boys.
DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Martin Sheen is here, Ray Winstone is here,
Martin
Vera
Short is
Farmiga
here.
showed up.
Who's that? That's
She's a
Madeline.
therapist. She plays
Okay,
Dr. Madeline Madden, no relation to John.
John
Yeah.
Madden. He's back.
Yeah, he's back. Bum, 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 bum. A whole
Impeccable.
murderers row of little stinkers. This is a
Just
hard movie to sum up. Let me see what Letterboxd has to say.
I feel like nah.
It's basically like, all right, the Boston police is trying to take down Frank Costello, played by Jack Nicholson, who's like the main mob guy in Boston.
Yeah, big shot.
Undercover, small, very tiny undercover unit inside the Boston police sends in Leonardo DiCaprio to dig up enough dirt on Costello to Leonardo DiCaprio plays a character name
Billy.
Will Costigan,
Okay, I call him Billy because we're friends.
Billy from the block.
Billy from the
Um,
block.
They send Costigan in to dig up dirt on Costello. Meanwhile, Matt Damon, who plays a character named Sullivan,
Colin Sullivan.
Colin Sullivan, he's like he's working his way up the kind of ladder of the Boston police. He's like a detective. Um, he is actually working for Costello to keep the police off his scent.
Yeah, Costello is basically like grooming him from an early age.
Yeah,
kind of.
because Sullivan doesn't have a dad. It seems like his father died when he was young. Costello fills that father role.
Yeah. So he's like, scratch daddy's back, please. And I'll get you that big cushy job that you like so much and that apartment and that girl that you like, okay? Sweetheart.
You like that therapist sucking on your pecker, huh? That's what he says.
What is
Jack
up with
Nicholson
that?
is
Did
the
he like
nastiest
arrange that?
any person has ever been.
Oh, he's such a nasty devil in this movie. I love it so much. He's the best actor I've ever seen of all time. Is that fair to say? Nobody has ever been better than Jack Nicholson, I think.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. The choices he makes are frequently like insane, but somehow he pulls it off. Where you're like, wow, it's the most interesting performance I've ever seen.
Well, because he is kind of insane. Well, I hate these. I mean, it's like, okay, this is it's hard to it's hard to deliver a muted performance, I guess. But like, what's more interesting, seeing fucking Daniel Day? I don't know. He's a good actor. I shouldn't talk shit on him. But to see somebody do like this muted, like, oh, I'm this moody guy, blah blah blah, or to see Jack Nicholson bounce off the fucking walls and also be really cool and fun.
Right.
I would rather that. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
I just want the viewer to note that Anders says is basically saying he agrees with everything Jack Nicholson's character does in this movie.
Yes. Yes.
He's a Costello stan.
I'm saying it on this one.
Yes, that's the basic premise. It's kind of a cat and mouse. You got a rat inside the mob working for the cops. You got a rat inside the cops working for the mob, basically.
They're like Colin and Billy are like they're like mirror reflections of each other, right? They're like Colin is like the anti-Billy and vice versa.
Right. Right.
Like they both went to the police academy. They both did like the same exact fucking training. Except Billy gets they show their interviews and Billy just gets absolutely shit on by Mark Wahlberg and fucking Martin Sheen. And they're like, you can be in the fucking undercover with us, living with the mob, or you're done in this town. You're not a statey, you're not a fucking Southie, and you're dirt to me. You're dirt under my fucking heels is what you are.
Yeah.
And then Colin, Matt Damon's character, strolls in. They're like, oh, you could be the fucking cream of the crop here. You're a big shot tough guy. We're gonna make you a detective without you even doing shit. How about that?
Yeah, I love the characterization of Sullivan as like just like he's like the worst guy. He's like, I'm gonna do anything I
Yeah.
can to get to like get a leg up. But also I like that Scorsese is like, but also this guy can't really have sex. He's like kind of a limp biscuit, if you will. Um,
I absolutely won't.
and 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 it's like,
But he's not
yeah.
totally uncool. Like
Oh, I think he sucks. I hate
he
everything.
does suck, but like
I think
Scorsese
he,
does a
yeah,
good job of casting him as at least a sympathetic character. Because in the beginning, like you see, like he's this kid with this tough upbringing, probably from Southie. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But he didn't have a dad,
he's
and
certainly not from North.
no,
Okay,
he's
the North of
no,
Boston. Come
he's
on.
not. He did not make it from North. I'll tell you that much. But Frank Costello kind of takes him under his wing, and you feel for him because it's like, oh, this is like his dad to him. But yeah, he's a corrupt fuck, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Matt Damon's performance in this movie is like fucking incredible. Like he's just like, I feel like I've just seen guys like him, like just his vibe. Like I love
He's
the
so
scene
put
where
together.
but also like he's like so confident that you're like, this guy's
That
just a Jenga tower about to fall. Like he's like,
yes.
he's way too confident. Like there's that great scene where he's like flirting with Vera Farmiga, the therapist
Madeline.
on the elevator, and like he's kind of flirting really good, but like he's also putting a little bit too much mustard on the dog.
I guess so, but that
And
was
like
what sealed the deal was the mustard. I think that's what
no,
what
I know she like
endeared
is
him.
really into it. She's like, wow, this guy's really charming. He's the kind of guy that's like, um, you're like, wow, this is the most charming man I ever met. Then you find out 6 months later that actually he was he was working for the mob and he's in jail. You're like,
Yeah, that's
oh,
him to a T. Actually,
yeah.
that's exactly who he was. Yeah, like he seems like he's got it all together. He seems like a nice. I mean, that's how they're really mirror images. That he's really his whole facade. His job is to be an honest person and to uphold the law, and he's a duplicitous kind of guy. But
Right. He's really good at keeping up the like fake identity that he has to keep up. Whereas
yeah,
like it's like destroying Leonardo DiCaprio. Like he's losing his sense of self,
yeah,
pretending to be a part of the mob.
yeah, absolutely. DiCaprio's character, he's like Billy is totally right. He's losing himself because he's an honest guy at heart, but he's kind of forced into this role where he has to lie and he's kind of breaking down. And I think that's why Madeline ends up choosing him over Colin.
Yeah, well, there's also that scene where DiCaprio just like shows up at her place. It's right when it's when they have sex.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
Oh yeah.
but then like he's like just like telling her like he's basically being vulnerable with her and then she's like I forget what she says. She says something that's like I'm I like kind of I don't know. I don't know how to deal with you being this vulnerable. Like I'm just like
Yeah.
surprised and also like I find it nice because
And then
my cuck of a boyfriend kind of sucks. He's sort
and
of a
then
little wimp.
and then he says, "Oh, you don't got cats? I like that." And that's when I love that line so much because that's when you know like they're about to bone. You know what I mean? Like when you kind of exhaust the whole conversation and it's just like I don't know what else to say. Oh, you don't have cats? That's how you know it's about to go down.
It's also funny though because it's like, I mean, the implication of that line is like he expected her to have cats.
Which is, I guess, I don't want to say that's insulting. It's probably, I guess, just neutral, but
Well, it's like she's like a woman who lives alone, and it's like the stereotype of like having cats. It's like it
I
might be
guess
slightly
so.
offensive, but she seems into it. I mean, they're I
For
mean,
the record, you can. It's okay to have cats and live alone. Just for the
yeah,
record, we support
and to
that.
be a
We support
woman.
yeah, and to be well, yeah, it's definitely yeah. You can be a woman. We condone being women on this show. So
Do you really want to take that stance?
yeah, I will go ahead. I will put that out there. That's
Okay.
fine with me.
Um, Andrew, what did you ever seen this movie before? Have you?
Mm-mm. No, but I did watch a Watch Mojo top 10 video where it was top 10. I think it was examples of foreshadowing, and this was on the list.
Was it like the light X's?
Yeah, the X's
Yeah.
to the characters that end up dying in the end. So I kind of. It didn't ruin my enjoyment at all, actually. I thoroughly enjoyed The Departed. But I
This
hadn't
is
seen it, no.
right. This is one of the most like rewatchable movies maybe ever. It's so like I mean, I said it in my letterbox review, but like it's like a perfect cable movie where every scene is good. And if you're just like scrolling through TV, I mean, nobody really has cable anymore unless you're like old. But if you're just like scrolling through cable and like you happen to be like, it's like you're at hour, you're like it's like 75 minutes into the party. You could put it on, and be
Yeah.
like, have a great time.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of really strong scenes that you can pick up this movie like pretty much whenever. Um, I mean, one of the reasons it's rewatchable is because it's kind of confusing as hell. Like the politics are weird, and I couldn't really grasp them. Especially like they come out at the gate hot. They're like, you can't beat up this guy, but you can beat up this guy because he doesn't answer to this guy, but that guy doesn't. And like, you have the mob politics and you have the police politics, and you're like, I can't balance all this shit. I can't really like figure out why you can't or can't do something.
That's a good point. I really like this movie. I will say though, I think it's like really sloppy for Scorsese by Scorsese standards. Not that he's like a super exacting guy. Like he's a pretty loose filmmaker. Like even his process is pretty loose. He lets people kind of improvise and do their own thing. Um, but even by his standards, there's just like a lot of like weird cross-cutting, like cross fades. Like I remember there's a scene, I think DiCaprio just breaks his hand. I forget, how does he break it?
He
Punching a
broke his
guy.
hand in that fight, yeah.
Right.
And then Jack Nicholson basically is like, "You fucking cop," and then like bashes his hand on the
Yeah,
table.
yeah,
He's like, "I'm not a fucking cop," but
yeah.
he is a cop.
Yeah.
That's what you and I know as viewers. We know.
I've actually picked up on that he was
Yeah.
actually a cop.
Little detail you might have
Very
missed it, but
interesting.
yes,
Very
Leonardo
interesting.
DiCaprio's character is in fact secretly a police officer working for the Bostonians from Southie.
Southie. So yeah, it's just like that first date between Matt Damon and Vera Farmiga, and then just like cross fades to DiCaprio getting his hand
Yes.
casted up, and I'm like, and then it just crossfades back to them, and I'm like, what's that? It's almost like Scorsese had that footage and didn't really know where to put it. It's like a little insert shot, and he's like,
Maybe.
what do I do with that? And this movie, it just feels a little sloppy.
That crossfade thing, I feel like maybe Marty's trying to like show the juxtaposition between here's Billy and here's Colin. Colin's out having a dinner with an attractive woman, and Billy is out getting his ass kicked, and he's like an actual honest guy.
Right.
So
Right.
it's kind of showing that disparity. This ain't reality TV. The writing is really good. It's sharp. It's funny.
Jack Nicholson, in this film gives a very grounded performance. He's very realistic.
Yes.
No, I think his performance is insane. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's fun.
It is fun. He's out here just acting his hell off.
He's out here eating fucking like little shrimps like a nasty man. He'll just like take a hand in a bag and just hold it like and take the ring off. He's a little weirdo.
He delivers the most unwise wisdom that anyone could. He's like your drunk uncle is kind of his role. But you find out he's the most duplicitous out of everybody. Like he kind of strikes you as like someone who's got he's got all his cards out on the table, but he does not. He's secretly working for the FBI
as an informant. See, that's it. It is a really good explanation of like, I feel like up until you find out that information, the whole time, at least for me, I'm like, how isn't this guy like, how haven't they gotten this guy on something? He's like, sort of pretty like brazenly killing people like publicly and like just doing bad shit. I'm like, you can't put him in jail for any of this stuff.
I mean, and that cracks the whole thing open, honestly. I feel like in terms of the movie.
Right.
Because DiCaprio, well, I keep saying DiCaprio. They're big stars, all right? Billy finds out
with people this big, I think you can just kind of say their name.
All right. DiCaprio finds out. Leonardo DiCaprio as himself in this movie finds out that Frank Costello, aka Jack Nicholson, is an FBI informant. And he's like, why the fuck am I risking my fucking life to investigate this guy if he's not even gonna get his just desserts? Like, we're not gonna put him in jail. That's not like no charges are gonna stick to him. And then Matt Damon finds out on his own volition, and he's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you're like supposed to be my dad. You didn't tell me that you were an informant for the FBI. I'm out here sticking my neck out. I could go to fucking jail.
Yeah.
I'm protecting you for if you do, and you don't even need it in the first place. Like, why am I out here? So they both kind of end up questioning their place in this whole thing. And then Jack Nicholson's like, you spill the beans. If you spill the blood, you spill the beans. And then he gets. Are we gonna spoil this movie? We should maybe.
Yeah, actually, no spoilers.
Okay, all right,
It
fine.
only came out 17 years ago.
Hey folks, Jimmy fucking Bags here, co-host of the Oscar Wieners podcast. I just want to jump in and interrupt real quick just to let you know we're going to spoil the absolute shit out of this movie. So if you want to go watch The Departed, go watch The Departed. Come back, we can hang out, have a cup of coffee, we'll chill, we'll talk about it, we'll gab, we'll gossip, we'll do all the stuff. But we're going to spoil it, okay? We're going to spoil it in like 10 seconds. I know we said we're not gonna, but we are going to do it. We're going to, trust me, we're going to do it, okay? All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye.
It's a very like easily spoilable movie. Like it is rewatchable, but knowing what happens to each character is kind of like I can't watch this for the first time twice. You know what I mean?
I mean, especially the ending.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw the ending where, I mean, spoilers, basically every main character is killed.
Yeah, big shock value.
Yeah, like I feel like when I saw that for the first time, I was just like, I saw that first and I was just like, holy shit, like what is this movie? Because that's crazy. They just killed Leonardo DiCaprio like that.
Yeah, and I actually didn't hate it. Like usually I'm like, don't kill your main character, but I thought it actually made sense within the context of the film, and it provided maybe like the most jarring moments of the film. Like it didn't feel it straddled the line between cheap and earned, and I think it was actually a relevant twist in the end.
Yeah, I agree, because it's a little bit like where, particularly DiCaprio and Damon. I mean, even Costello, who was killed like maybe like 20 minutes earlier before that final kind of
Yeah.
showdown. It's just like where are Damon and DiCaprio? Like, what are they supposed to do? Like after the events of this movie, especially I mean, Damon, I guess, would just keep kind of like fucking farting his way up to the top.
Yeah.
But like DiCaprio has been kind of broken by this.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's
mean,
also I love the tension too of DiCaprio. Like only two people know who like that he's undercover. Like
yeah, it's
Martin
insane.
Sheen and Wahlberg, and I'm like that precarity is probably like I could just like feel how like intense and fucking like it's like if something happens to them, I'm fucked.
Yeah, and something something happens to Martin Sheen's character, but
gets thrown off a roof by Costello's goons.
It becomes clear that Mark Wahlberg's going to surface at some point, because I'm like, where's he? Because he just quits.
Yeah.
Like, nothing happens to him. He doesn't get shot or arrested or anything. He's just like, I'm out of this shit. See ya, fuckers. Like, that's basically his whole attitude. And I'm like, well, he's one of the guys that knows who Leo DiCaprio actually is. So we kind of need him.
Yeah.
This movie also commits another, what I consider to be a cardinal sin, is that the protagonist and antagonist don't interact until like the very end, but it still I think pays off and works because they're kind of like meandering around each other the whole film, and then when they do finally interact, like it feels very cathartic. Like when DiCaprio's just fucking laying into this fucking slimy little son of a gun, it feels good. You're just like, yeah, like that's I'm like, that's the shit I would say. I mean, it's not. I don't know what I would say. I probably couldn't hold a gun. But it was really cool to see and watch and put myself in those shoes.
Yeah. It is really fun. Like it's always funny rewatching it because I've seen this movie like maybe 3 or 4 times. It's always funny. Like, oh yeah, they don't even know about each other.
No. Like they meet in the office and they're like just having a casual conversation. He's like, yeah, I was in on the case, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of like the gears start churning in their head. They piece it together, both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you're the fucking guy. They probably Spider-Man pointed at each other and they were like, you're the rat at the same time. That's what I pictured in my head. That's how I would have done it if I were directing it. But Marty, do your thing. You know what I'm saying?
You would have been like, hey, let's redo this meme.
Yeah, I would have done that.
In 2005, when this movie was being shot, they're like, "What's a meme?"
Yeah, like the meme didn't exist yet. I would have done it before.
I love the way
Spider-Man did it. I guess.
I love the way they text on like kind of these little shitty. They have like flip
Yeah.
phones and stuff. I'm like, God, 2006 was really good.
The immersion with the flip phones is visceral. It feels so good. It feels like
Yeah.
I'm there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But what's funny about it too is like its inclusion almost feels like the movie being like, look how modern everything is. And it's like
That
now
is
it's like,
true.
oh, that's really old.
When Matt Damon is like trying to signal to Frank Costello, he's trying to like type
He's
in his
hitting
little
six
pocket.
like a few times to get to the H or whatever.
It's funny because we're probably the last generation who can identify with that. Like in my
Yeah.
mind, I'm like, oh shit, like this is hard what he's doing right now, and it's stressful what he's doing because you have to push that button 3 times to get the letter A,
Yeah.
and he's doing it
Plus it's
blind.
like loud. It's like it's
It's
like
dead
he's
quiet
sta-
in
yeah,
the.
he's standing right next to Martin Sheen.
Alec Baldwin loses his shit in that scene. He goes fucking ballistic, and I
He
love to
loves
see
the
it.
Patriot Act.
He loves the Patriot Act. He beats the shit out of that guy. Imagine being at a job where if you did your job wrong, your boss beats the shit out of you because that's how badly you did your job.
Like the energy of this movie is so funny because like it'll have stuff like that. I'm like that wouldn't happen, but it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
This movie is actually a remake. I haven't seen the original of a Hong Kong, police thriller called Infernal Affairs. The first movie in a
Internal
trilogy,
Affairs.
actually.
Internal Affairs?
It's I mean Internal Affair, but it's called Infernal Affairs, like fiery.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen it, but it is a remake of that. And it's also like bringing in its own like, sorry, I just burped. Boston specific shit. So
Yeah, what's with him in Boston? He likes that shit, huh?
Scorsese.
Yeah.
See, I don't
He
think he
loves it.
does. I don't think he does. I do think Scorsese gets a little bit looser when he's out of New York. And I think his movies.
Like with his morals? Like what do you mean?
I don't really know. I like. There's less specificity. There's less like. You could tell. At least for me, I could tell. I mean, I've also been watching all of his movies, so like when he's not in New York, I'm like, oh, he's a little bit out of his depth here, or like out of his element.
Interesting. If you're doing a movie in New York, this is not to say New York is better than Boston objectively, but like if you're doing a New York movie, like I always see, like you get some of the movies that we've seen have taken place in cityscapes, and it's like, oh, here's this beautiful shot of New York or a monument or a street or this, but I didn't really feel immersed in the setting that much. Other than like the fact that like if the characters didn't have Boston accents, I probably wouldn't have noticed this was Boston.
You're like, this is Baltimore, Maryland, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be. I don't know. If Mark Wahlberg wasn't there, this could have been fucking Philadelphia for all I know. I don't know.
You could tell that Scorsese isn't really familiar with the city as well as he is New York.
Like, show us some Boston shit. Show us the Bean. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't see the Bean once.
Chicago.
Okay.
That's Chicago, man.
Oh shit. Yeah. You're right. Sorry.
So you wrote it down?
Yeah, I wrote down the Bean, and then I wrote Chicago, and I just forgot my notes.
What else you got to say about this dang ass thing?
I got questions.
Hit me with them. I probably definitely have answers.
Why the fuck? How did they not suspect that fucking Leo DiCaprio, who came from the police force and his first day basically in the mob working for Frank, how did they not suspect that he was the rat?
I think like his cover story that gets like put out into the mob and also the police and like the police at large is like this guy failed out of the police school, the academy.
But for what? Like
that's what. Yeah, I have no idea. It's like a little bit. It's basically just like a brief explanation to give the character street cred enough that he'll be able to successfully sort of blend in with the mob.
okay. But then there's the scene where Jack Nicholson and Leo DiCaprio are sitting together at dinner, and he's like, I'm trying to figure out who's the rat. And Leo DiCaprio is just fucking sweating bullets. He looks like he's crying, and he's like, I don't know who it could be. It's like, it's him. He's sitting right in front of you. Unless he knows and doesn't care. That's kind of what I think, maybe. Because he's like, I'm protected by the FBI anyway, whatever. I kind of like this guy. He's doing all my dirty deeds for me, basically. So I'm just going to keep him around, even though I know he's a fucking cop.
That's an interesting take. Yeah, because like it is true. It's like, why does Costello care if there's a rat? He has
No, yeah.
immunity. He has
Yeah.
like federal immunity.
But he's also like that's also weird because then a large part of the thrust in the movie is he's on the phone with Matt Damon, be like, we got a rat in our midst, and Matt Damon's stressing out trying to find out who this guy is. But meanwhile, it doesn't even matter. None of it matters in the end.
Yeah, that again, that's why I'm like this movie's all vibes. You just gotta vibe with it.
You gotta vibe with it, and the vibes are there. The vibes are nice. I'm
Yeah.
feeling the vibes.
Watching it this time, I was a little bit like, you guys don't know it's DiCaprio. Like he's the new guy
Yeah.
in the group. He's like
They
that's
don't
like
know.
if you watch I don't know, like if you watch the new movie in the Scream movies. In the new Scream in a
Yeah.
Scream movie, it's always the new character who's been introduced who's like the bad guy, who's Ghostface. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, obviously.
And then the characters are just on screen being like, it could be any one of us. It's like, no,
It's
it's
like-
like that guy. It's the new
Yeah.
guy. Who's
It's the guy
been
you've never
introduced.
seen before.
Yeah, I guess that kind of bothered me. But I was just like, all right, whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
So I kind of just adopted the theory that Frank Costello knows what's going on.
Right.
But who knows? It would have been a cool reveal, I think. Marty, write me up. Hit me. Hit my line. Hit my
You say
cell.
pen me up.
Pen me up, dude. Write me a
Write
letter
me a letter.
of recommendation. I could use one. Overall, yeah, this is cool. Departed's cool. Go watch
Yeah,
Departed.
Departed's cool. 4
Departed's
stars.
cool.
Really
Yeah.
good movie.
Yeah, go ahead. Go knock yourself out.
You know,
like
it's sloppy for Scorsese, but it's also better than like most movies I see. So
Yeah. I will say it's surprising that this won. It doesn't feel like an Oscar, like an Academy movie.
I think it was a little bit like,
Oh, no, never mind. I figured it out. It's because it's an homage to old shit.
how is it an homage to old shit?
It's an homage to whatever the fuck the movie that you said, Infernal Affairs, whatever. And then
No,
the other
that-
shit too. And then Scarface, like the old Scarface.
I mean,
Scorsese didn't. This is not his shit. this is somebody else's shit that he just pieced together in some sort of weird Frankenstein jigsaw puzzle. This is not him. He just got fucking DiCaprio and Damon in on it, and he fucking just
don't let your
together.
voice get to that
I'm
octave.
pissed. I don't know why. I just think he's
Don't
just
turn
fucking-
into a mouse over a movie, okay?
It's good. It's just not. That ain't all you, sis. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I think
I'm
you need
just
to
saying.
calm down.
No, I'm sorry. It's a good movie. Marty did a good job.
I will say Infernal Affairs, the Hong Kong movie, it's kind of a remake of, came out only like 4 or 5 years earlier. So it's not like the Academy is like,
Oh,
I do think, here's what I think it is. I think by 2006 it had gotten to a point where it's like the Academy was like, we got to give it to him, right? Because like,
that's so fucking weird to me.
Like,
Give
it's
it
been
to him
so
when
long.
he deserves it most. Then, also, I don't know. That's overreacting over nothing. But I guess it just goes to show that there are a lot of talented people out there making movies. So I guess not everybody can. Like you think a guy like Martin Scorsese would win all the awards all the time, but there are other folks out there.
but I think that's the big reason is they were like, we got to give it to him finally because it's been too long.
All right,
And-
maybe that's weird. They DiCaprio'd him before that was a thing, I guess.
True, they did DiCaprio him. It's funny too because Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, and Francis Ford Coppola came out, and I feel like when those 3 guys came out, it was like, all right, so Martin Scorsese is going to win the Best Director Oscar because like all these guys are
Okay.
coming out because like they're all friends, so like
Oh, so
especially
they,
they came up at the same time in the 70s, so it's like, all right, obviously they're bringing out his like 3 very famous
Okay.
successful friends to give him an Oscar.
So the cabal of old director
Fuckers.
fuckers. Yeah, the cabal of old fuckers strikes again. They decided it's Marty's turn to be honored.
It is funny though because George Lucas never won Best Director, so it's just sort of Spielberg and Coppola.
Just farting about.
Yeah, George Lucas is like, I'm here too. Look, I didn't wear flannel, guys. All right.
Probably did, by the way.
Yeah, he had it underneath. All right. Other nominees. for this year. Best Departed wins Best Picture, obviously.
Nice.
Next up, we have another Inarritu joint, director of
Oh,
Birdman.
he's
His movie,
he's kicking around in this. Oh, I guess this era was
yeah,
not too long ago, I suppose.
yeah, he's been around for a while.
Okay.
A movie called Babel, starring Brad Pitt,
Oh,
and you got Kate Blanchett, you got Gael Garcia Bernal. It's sort of like it's one of those kinds of movies where it's like multiple stories that kind of, cross over and interlock and stuff. I've never seen it. I hear it's mid. No offense, Inarritu.
this one's pretty high on my my hottest pits list. You can check that on my Letterboxd.
Yeah, looking at him in the poster, he's crying, but he's also hot
He's a hot
about it.
crier. Yeah.
Next up, we have a Clint Eastwood joint because he makes like one a year, and the Academy loves his old ass. Letters from Iwo Jima.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
a companion movie to Flags of Our Fathers, told from the perspective of the Japanese during the Battle of Iwo Jima, whereas Flags of Our Fathers was from the perspective of the United States.
That's cool. That's
Um,
a fun idea.
it is a fun idea. I've seen both many years ago. Flags of Our Fathers, I think, is okay, but Letters from Iwo Jima is really good from my memory.
Okay.
Letters from Iwo Jima is the better movie. Um, Next up, we have Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh, tell me about it. Can I tell you what I think it's about?
Yeah, tell me.
I think it's about like a little mushroom girl, and she's like, "I'm Little Miss Sunshine," and then that's like the theme song to the movie. It's like, "I'm Little Miss Sunshine," and then there's a bunch of like little like Hobbit guys that come out. And they're like, "She's Little Miss Sunshine," and I think Jim Carrey is in it. No, in my version, he is. I'm thinking of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
And then they go on like a quest, to get some sort of amulet, I think.
No.
Okay.
It's
Fine.
about a fucking little girl,
Oh,
Abigail Breslin.
is she a
Uh,
mushroom?
no, she's a human girl,
Okay. All right. Never
and
mind.
her a family loaded with quirky, colorful characters piles into an old van and road trips to California for little Olive to compete in a beauty pageant.
That's cool. I wonder why that would win Best Picture. Have you seen it?
I have. It's from my memory, it is a nice little movie.
Okay.
It might be a little bit too quirky for its own good, but I'd have to give it a rewatch. But it has a lot of, it's got Steve Carell, it's got Alan Arkin, Paul Dano.
Cool.
Um, and finally we have The Queen.
Of? That's it. Okay. Awesome.
An intimate behind the scenes glimpse at the interaction between H.M. Elizabeth II and Prime Minister
Her
Tony Blair
Majesty.
during their struggle following the death of Diana to reach a compromise between what was a private tragedy for the royal family and the public's demand for an overt display of mourning. That sounds kind of
Didn't we
interesting.
talk about this when we talked about Shakespeare in Love?
There was another, I want to say that movie's called like Elizabeth or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. All right.
it's all
Then what the fuck?
they
Why
love
are we
this fucking
obsessed?
royal shit. I
Why?
don't get it. I don't know.
I think it's kind of boring. Sorry to all the Brits, but
They could eat my arse,
Oh,
for lack of a
wow.
better word.
wow.
Sorry, I'm not a fan of monarchies, or at least performative monarchies.
What are you gonna do?
Sue me.
Sue me.
Um,
Down with King George. Pour the tea in Boston Harbor. No taxation without representation, motherfucker. Let's go.
for the tea in Boston. You think that's
Harbor.
how they sounded in like 1770, whatever?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope there's an exact fucking Fark Wahlberg is out there pouring tea in Boston Harbor, the Revolutionary War era, just going, I got an idea for a burger joint. We'll serve better shit than this. Pour this swill in the fucking water. It's probably how it happens.
That's really good.
Yeah, this has been History Corner.
Also, maybe cut that shit out about me saying
The British are
king
bad.
and queen can eat my arse. Maybe cut that out.
No way.
That's it. Those are the nominees. That was the Oscars that year.
All right, give it to The Departed. Give it to them.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, maybe Letters from Iwo Jima. I don't know. It's kind of a weak year, to be honest.
Eh.
Uh, like not across all of the movies that were released, but the specific nominees. I'm like, there weren't any better movies that came out that year.
2007 was a rough time.
I mean, but the next year you got that's No Country for Old Men year, and you got like a bunch of
Oh.
masterpieces.
Would you like to hear the real, the truth, what the people had to say? Not this fucking Academy bullshit. We found some reviews on the internet where the people live of the world. All the people from Southie. They're all out here. Would you like to hear some reviews?
I would.
Because I got a bevy of them. Now, just to clarify, this is for the Departed, not Lego Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu Day of the Departed. That came out in 2016. So, just want to
Oh
clear
shit!
that confusion.
Were you talking about the 2006 Departed this whole time? I was talking about that Ninjago shit.
Imagine somebody listening to this is like, "Oh fuck, this is not this. This is nothing like fucking Lego Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu. What gives? These guys don't know anything. Well, we don't, but I mean, we at least know that this is
We know that we watched a movie and we could describe to you kind of the events of it.
yes,
Yeah.
and that's kind of our MO. Give me the name of somebody who perhaps is a main character of Lego Ninjago Masters of
Oh my
Spinjitzu
God.
Day
Probably
of the
like
Departed.
Rod Serling.
That's the name of a Lego character.
Max
Okay.
Jago.
Okay, Max Jago says half a star. No, because actually, shut the fuck up. This was so bad. Such an annoying film. I hated everyone. You guys are so strange. Also, are we not going to talk about how terrible the poster is? And I looked at the poster. On first glance, it's fine, I guess, but
I mean, it's not great. It's fine though.
you got big block letters and you got a photo mask of the main actors of the film. And then it just says The Departed right next to it. Like,
That's true. It says The Departed and then The Departed. It's like
Well,
we got it.
if you're watching on YouTube, I'll put it up so you can take a look at this thing. But yeah, it's pretty bad. Also, why is there a hyphen after part but not any of the other fractured letters?
It's a really good point.
The more I look at it, the more is wrong. Also, it looks like Jack Nicholson's and Matt Damon's heads are like spliced together.
Smushed. Yeah. The thing I'll say about movie posters, especially like older movies,
Yeah.
is like this has just been the poster that I've seen. Like this, and there's another one that has like red in it or something, and it's more like this
Yeah.
banner on Letterboxd.
There's a bunch. There are a bunch of different
yeah.
posters for most movies. Like there are
Right,
multiple.
right. But like the poster to me now is just the poster. So it's like it's almost like a familiar piece of like iconography that like I'm just like, oh, that's just what the Departed poster looks like, so I like it. You know what I mean? I'm not
No,
like really
what the hell are you
judging it
talking
anymore.
about?
I'm not
What do you
judging
mean?
it anymore. I'm like, yeah, that hyphen should be there because it's always been there.
Because it's old?
Because it's always been there.
That makes no fucking sense, but okay. I don't really get that. You know what a great poster was on the waterfront? Just saying. That shit was artful.
Artful Dodger. No one had a great one was a great movie, Oliver. That movie ripped.
No,
That movie
I'm done with
ripped.
Oliver. No, we did. We said it. It's in the. We put that thing in the casket. All right. It's
That
done.
movie was awesome.
Give me the name of. Actually, I'm not going to let you give me the name of this person because just know that this comes from a username, Food in Movies. So shout out to Food in Movies. You're telling me half a star. You're telling me that the so-called greatest director of his time can't even put more than one croissant in a 2-hour movie? Garbage. French donut? Martin can blow me. A Long John Silver's commercial is better than this trash-ass movie.
Put croissants back in movies.
Put croissants back in movies, absolutely. Give me the name of somebody. Give me the name of somebody from another dimension.
Trickle Dorian.
Trickle Orion says 1.5 star. They don't even fucking depart, and they do. So fuck off, Trickle.
Yeah, they do.
He dies. That's departing. A lot of them die, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
Get his ass.
that's why I'm here. Give me the name of somebody who's on vacation this week.
Sunny Shoeshine.
Sunny Shoeshine says 2 stars. White people will say all Asians look alike and then put Jack Nicholson, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Matt Damon / Mark Wahlberg all in the same movie. Which I understand.
I will say, Mark Wahlberg, Matt Damon, and DiCaprio, like, they don't look the same, but they do.
They do. They're kind of
movie.
made to look the same in a way. I almost wonder if that's on purpose.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson, I don't know if belongs in that group. He looks
only because he's old.
Old, yeah. It's because he's old. This is by a user named Gremlins for Life. Shout out to Gremlins for Life. 1 star. The story, the characters, Martin Scorsese, none of this matters. No Gremlins, no stars. And honestly,
what?
I could not agree more.
That's crazy.
Fair enough.
Thank you for those.
You're welcome. Thank you.
As
for
always,
your
they
whole
were
presence.
Just every review is always a curveball that you bring to the show.
That's what we got to get the. I'm trying to be the voice of the people. You know.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm trying to be the voice of the sheeple.
The
The people who just sort of go along with the day to day.
Yes.
Who pay their taxes and so forth.
You pay your taxes, you fucking sheep. That's kind of your job, your role.
Yeah.
And I do respect you for it.
People who buy graphic tees at Target on sale.
Ew. Disgusting.
Disgusting.
You disgust me.
People who watch Blue Bloods.
All right, easy.
Mom, Dad.
Dad.
That's been our episode. Next week, we've been too modern these last few episodes. We're going back in time, baby.
Yeah.
We're gonna pay a visit. We're gonna pay a visit to Miss Miniver.
What the hell is that?
1942 or 1941?
Okay. Oh,
42?
right on the cusp of World War II.
Best Picture winner, directed by William Wyler, who will cover a few more of his goddamn movies because he also made The Best Years of Our Lives and Ben-Hur, if you can believe it.
Oh, okay.
Ben-Hur? I hardly know her.
Save it for the episode, dude. This is good.
Yeah, so we're talking Miss Miniver.
Cool. I'm excited. Looking forward to speaking about it.
I do think it's about just like a woman's experience of World War II, like being on the home front in
that was all
like
you could
Connecticut
really
or whatever.
World War II was all you could really talk about at this time.
Yeah, arguably it's still all we can talk about.
We're done with that era. Let's move on. We've had plenty of other wars.
There's been like 3 other wars.
Almost more. We've been like 4 or 5 wars.
Yeah. Put your wiener in a lab coat and dip it into some sauerkraut and take a munch.
Just take a big old munch.
See you next week. Wieners.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that microwave shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners.
This is the shit that's gonna get you canceled.
Yeah.
We said King George could suck my ass.